If you think that all snakes are tiny and small, then think again, because if you've ever encountered any of these massive creatures, you cannot deny their massive size and strength. With over 3,000 species lurking around in the world, the competition for the biggest snake is fierce. Join us as we have a look at 15 of the largest snakes ever caught on camera. Number 1. The Yellow Anaconda. A group of dam workers would stumble upon what could have been the biggest snake in history. This 33-foot-long yellow anaconda weighed 882 pounds and was found in a cave in the northern state of Para after a controlled explosion. The workers were absolutely terrified when they came across this huge reptile, which was later found to have had a diameter of 1 meter. Can you imagine the shock of seeing a huge body lifted by a crane? Despite the intimidating size, the yellow anaconda is a non-venomous species, like all boas and pythons. It kills its prey by constriction and is one of the giant snakes of the world, though smaller than its close relative, the green anaconda. These snakes are known to be solitary creatures and can be active both during the day and the night. They spend most of their lives in or around the water, sometimes called water boas. Interestingly, they can also be seen floating atop the surface while in the water with their snouts poking out. Yellow anacondas are considered timid and prefer to escape from predators, but will defend themselves when they're threatened. As carnivores, they feed almost exclusively upon aquatic or semi-aquatic species like mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and eggs. Larger specimens can even prey on bigger animals such as brocket deer, capybaras, and pecaries. Number 2. Indian Python. This massive creature would be discovered on a construction site, and initial estimates would suggest that it could have been the longest snake ever captured. That's right, I'm talking about a behemoth of a reptile that could measure to be up to 8 meters in length. That's longer than your average school bus. The reticulated python, a species commonly found in Southeast Asia, would be spotted where a flyover was being built, and authorities quickly jumped into action to catch the beast. According to an official with the Malaysian department that caught the snake, workers from the construction site called emergency services when they spotted the python. It took authorities 30 minutes to trap the giant snake, which weighed a whopping 250 kilograms. However, the story turned sad as we learned that the python died shortly after laying its eggs. It's unclear why the serpent perished, but what is clear is that kicking the snake certainly did not help matters. A video on the Malaysian Star News website shows a man using his foot to nudge the python, which is never a good idea when dealing with wild animals. Number 3. Burmese Python. A Florida woman got the ultimate surprise on her New Year's Day adventure when she and her friends encountered a massive Burmese python in the middle of a 2-lane road. Kimberly Strimpak Clark, driving with her friends, took a video of the encounter, which she later shared on Instagram. The video shows a 15-foot-long snake slithering across the road in front of their car, with a robotic voice from the GPS system saying, "Proceed to the route" in the background. Clark captioned the video with a humorous dig at the voice, saying, "No, Siri, we don't want to proceed to the route." Burmese pythons are a non-venomous species of constrictor that have become invasive in Florida, primarily found around the Everglades in southern Florida. Their massive size threatens native wildlife, which includes birds, mammals, alligators, and pets, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has deemed them to be an environmental hazard, requiring them to be humanely killed if captured. Although Clark and her friends could not capture the python, they reported its location to the state as required by law. Some who watched the video questioned why they didn't run over the snake, but Clark explained that it was too risky for their car, themselves, and other drivers. Despite the potential danger, Clark and her friends were thrilled to have seen such an impressive creature up close. Number 4. Reticulated Python. Have you ever seen or heard of a snake that was so big that it takes 15 people to hold it? Let me introduce you to Medusa, the world's largest snake in captivity. This massive python weighs over 300 pounds, measuring 25 feet long, and is only 8 years old. That's right, she's still growing. Medusa lives at the edge of Hell Haunted House attraction in Kansas City, Missouri, and is cared for by her trainer, Larry Elgar. Despite her intimidating size, Larry is not afraid of the snake. He understands that she has the power to kill him, but he has no fear. In fact, he believes that fear is just a lack of understanding. To keep Medusa healthy and growing, she's fed every 2 weeks with a diet of rabbits, hogs, and deer, and she's also a tolerable snake if she's not agitated, hungry, or provoked. According to Larry, Medusa can even vocalize. She can purr like a cat when she's happy, or huff and hiss when annoyed and distressed. At the age of 7, Medusa was only 24 inches long, but she's now a record-breaking python thanks to her good genetics and proper care. Medusa has even bumped Fluffy, another reticulated python, off the top spot for the longest snake that's living in captivity. Number 5. Amethystine Python. Indonesia is a nation that's like no other, spanning over 3,000 miles along the equator and encompassing a staggering 17,000 islands. Its natural wonders vary greatly, with tropical forests that ascend from humid lowlands to mountainous peaks on some isles. However, the most magnificent aspect of Indonesia is its vast rainforests, home to an abundance of exotic animals like majestic tigers and rhinos, agile bats, and massive snakes. Sadly, though, human encroachment is leading to the rapid destruction of these forests, which only increases the frequency of dangerous incidents as humans continue to invade the habitats of these wild beasts. In a story that will make your skin crawl, one woman in Indonesia would meet a gruesome fate after being swallowed alive by an amethystine python. Talk about a terrifying way to go. According to reports, she was collecting rubber when she disappeared. Her husband had found her belongings, but not her body. Imagine his shock when he discovered a giant snake with a bulging stomach in the same area. His worst fear would be confirmed when locals cut the snake open and found the undigested remains of his wife. The shocking incident understandably went viral and has been documented in graphic detail in a video that shows villagers cutting the python's belly open to reveal what officials believe to be the chewed body of the missing grandmother. Reports would suggest that the python might have bitten her before wrapping itself around her body and then swallowing her whole in a painful ordeal that would last at least 2 hours. That's a painful way to go, and I can't even begin to imagine what the victim and her family went through. Number 6. African Rock Python. With a reputation for being one of the most aggressive pythons, these serpents cannot be tamed like their Burmese counterparts. In fact, they're so irritable that they're born striking. Native to sub-Saharan Africa, these pythons can grow to be 20 feet long and feast on small mammals, antelope, warthogs, and herons. But beware, the slithery creatures have made their way to Miami, Florida, a state that's already overrun by alien snakes. While lacking venom, the African rock python makes up for it in powerful constricting capability. It coils around its prey, squeezing their life out until they take their last breath. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, the python also features long and curved teeth that can inflict some deep wounds. But the African rock python's reputation for being aggressive and dangerous was made clear in 2013 when it killed 2 boys in New Brunswick, Canada. The python had escaped from a specially made enclosure in an apartment above their friend's father's pet store, crawled through the air duct, and then fell through a ceiling tile where the boys were sleeping. It's a tragic reminder that even the most seemingly harmless pets can also be unpredictable. Number 7. Scrub Python. These massive hunters can grow up to be about 8 meters long and weigh over 25 kilograms, but don't be fooled by their non-venomous nature. They still have large teeth that they can use to secure their prey. Once they have a meal, they'll then wrap their muscular body into coils and suffocate the prey. They're not picky eaters either, enjoying anything from rodents to even young kangaroos. The female scrub python is a true protective mother, laying up to 20 eggs and then coiling herself on top of them in order to generate heat and then prevent predators from preying upon them. These snakes are often spotted under cover of darkness in search of their next meal, and they have inbuilt infrared or heat-sensitive labial pits that allow them to detect, stalk, and strike their prey accurately at night. And they don't care much about human activity either. Recently, a scrub python would be spotted crossing a street in the Daintree rainforest, blocking cars that were trying to pass by. One brave man followed closely behind the giant reptile, hands in his pockets. But don't be alarmed, if you leave these incredible creatures alone, well, they'll leave you alone as well. So the next time you explore the tropical rainforests of far north Queensland, you should watch out for this magnificent snake, the scrub python. Number 8. The boa constrictor. Did you know that 37 snake species call North Carolina home? But don't worry, most of them are harmless to humans and pets. However, a recent scare occurred when a South American red-tailed boa constrictor was found behind a restaurant in Matthews. You may think that having a pet snake is cool, but it's also important to be a responsible pet owner and not release it into the wild when you can no longer take care of it. Thankfully, the people at Carolina Waterfowl Rescue would take the boa in, whom they then named Sheba, and they're giving her a safe place to stay. Director Jennifer Gordon reminds everyone that although Sheba is not venomous and wouldn't harm a human due to her size, it's still not a great idea to encounter her in the woods. She says it would probably scare the crud out of anybody who saw it, and if you care about an animal like this, you wouldn't do that because most people would kill it. Officer Jeremy Schnabel of Matthews Animal Control is frustrated that Sheba's previous owner did not give her up to a rescue group or organization instead of releasing her into the woods. Number 9. Eastern Diamond Head Rattlesnake. Rhett and Taylor Stanberry, a husband and wife snake-catching duo, were called to a property in Estero, Lee County, South Florida, to remove 2 eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. According to the Stanberrys, the male and female snakes were breeding pairs and measured to be 4 and 5.5 feet in length, respectively. These snakes are the largest rattlesnake species and one of the heaviest known venomous snakes that are native to the southeastern United States. They can grow to be an average length of 3 to 6 feet, weighing 2 to 4 pounds, but the largest specimens can reach 8 feet and weigh up to 10 pounds. The snakes have brown, tan, or yellow skin with brown diamonds along their back and a cream outline. When the Stanberrys arrived at the property, they safely captured the snakes that were hiding in a hedge using snake hooks. They even found that the female snake had a big meal in its stomach, probably a rabbit, before they relocated them to both a safe location in the wild. In a YouTube video that was posted to Toby's Troop channel, Rhett Stanberry explained that these snakes were out and about during the breeding season, looking for a cozy place to nestle up. Once the snake catchers had captured the 2 snakes, they released them to a perfect rattlesnake habitat. There is a cypress forest and pine trees on the other side, and the Stanberrys wanted to release them into the same area in case they had some more business to finish. Many sightings can be explained by the increasing development in South Florida, and rattlesnakes along with other species are displaced, turning up in residential areas. These snakes can inflict fatal pain upon a human in severe cases. However, rattlesnakes generally prefer to flee from a human encounter. Therefore, it's recommended that you give the animal space to sneak away if you should have an encounter with one. Number 10. The Congo Giant Snake. In 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerd, a Belgian Air Force officer, had a wild encounter with a mysterious creature while flying over the forests in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He spotted a massive snake estimated to be around 50 feet long, with a head that measured 2 feet wide by 3 feet long. Yikes! If his estimates were accurate, the giant snake would be one of the largest ever recorded. The colonel described the snake's dark and green and brown top scales, along with whitish-colored underside. But the real kicker came when the snake reared up, almost as if to strike, revealing its underbelly, which the colonel had a chance to observe up close. Talk about a heart-stopping moment. Some reports suggest that an onboard photographer managed to snap a photo of the creature, but unfortunately it was never properly documented. However, the colonel's encounter has led many to speculate about the origins of the Congo giant snake. Some believe it could be a massively oversized African rock python, while others suggest that it may be an entirely new snake species altogether. And if we let our imaginations run wild, maybe it's even a descendant of the giant Eocene snake, Gigantopus. Number 11. The King Cobra. With its impressive size and venomous bite, the king cobra is an intimidating sight. But despite its fearsome reputation, this slithering serpent is a pretty shy creature and would rather avoid humans whenever possible. Of course, if you do happen to stumble across a king cobra in the wild, you'd better hope that it's in a good mood, because these snakes have been known to stand up and look a full-grown person in the eye. When threatened, king cobras can lift up to a third of their body off the ground and move forward to attack. It's an awe-inspiring sight, but fortunately, most of us will never have to experience it firsthand. Of course, even if you avoid being bitten by a king cobra, you still wouldn't want to get too close. These snakes can grow up to be about 18 feet long, making them the longest venomous snake in the world. And while their venom may not be the most potent, the amount that they can deliver in one single strike is enough to kill 20 people or even an elephant. That's right, these snakes are not to be messed with. So where exactly are the king cobras? Well, these creatures live primarily in India, China, and Southeast Asia. Their colors differ from the individual region. Their home in various settings includes bamboo forests, groves, mangrove swamps, high-altitude grasslands, and rivers. So if you can visit these parts of the world, do keep your eyes peeled, because you never know what you may come across. King cobras are also known for their unique nesting behavior. Unlike most snakes, which lay their eggs and leave them to hatch on their own, the king cobra will build a nest for their eggs, which they guard ferociously until the hatchlings emerge. And while they primarily feed on other snakes, both venomous and non-venomous, they'll also eat lizards, eggs, and small mammals. Of course, if you're like most people, your first exposure to the king cobra probably comes from watching a snake charmer in South Asia. These performers have been known to coax these snakes into dancing to the sound of a flute, but as it turns out, this practice is actually quite cruel. While king cobras can hear, they are deaf to ambient noise, sensing ground vibrations instead. So when a snake charmer plays the flute, the cobra isn't actually dancing, it's just trying to escape the noise, and unfortunately, it's often subjected to cruel treatment as part of conditioning it not to strike the flutist. Number 12. Black Mamba. Black mambas can be found in southern and eastern Africa's savannas and rocky hills. They're also the longest venomous snake in Africa, reaching up to 14 feet long. That's longer than a school bus. They're no slouches either, as they can slither up to 12.5 miles per hour. Talk about a speedy snake. Now don't let their name fool you though. Black mambas are actually not black, but their mouths are. When threatened, these shy snakes will show off their blue-black mouth coloration to tell you that they mean business. And let me tell you, when black mambas get angry, they do mean business. These snakes are known to be highly aggressive when threatened and can repeatedly strike, injecting a potent combination of neuro and cardiotoxins with each bite. Before the advent of the black mamba antivenom, a bite from one of these deadly creatures was almost always fatal, usually within 20 minutes. And unfortunately, the antivenom is still not widely available in rural parts of their range, putting pressure on the species and contributing to more dangerous human contact. Number 13. Eastern Indigo Snake. One of the largest snake species that are native to the United States, the eastern indigo snake is one impressive creature. With a uniform blue-black coloration and iridescent purple scales, it's difficult not to be awestruck by their beauty. These snakes can be found in the southeastern United States, inhabiting various habitats from stream bottoms to dry meadows, and they have various hiding spots that include gopher tortoise burrows to debris piles, so you just never know where they may pop up. Eastern indigo snakes are big fans of snacking and are not picky eaters. They'll eat anything that they can overpower, which includes other snakes, turtles, lizards, frogs, toads, small birds, and mammals. And get this, they even beat their prey against nearby objects in order to kill them. Talk about being a tough predator. And if you do cross paths with an eastern indigo snake, don't worry too much about being bitten. These snakes are non-venomous and would rather run away from you than to be confronted. However, if you do get them riled up, they will begin to hiss, vibrate their tail, and even flatten their neck in defense. So it's best to just admire them from a safe distance. In the wintertime, eastern indigo snakes hibernate in gopher tortoise burrows, but come summertime they're on the move, traveling across upland pine hardwood communities and creek bottoms, all in search of food. These snakes are diurnal, meaning that they're active during the day, so keep your eyes peeled for them during your next hike. Number 14. Eastern Brown Snake. The eastern brown snake is native to eastern and central Australia and southern New Guinea. This species is known for its slender build and can grow to be about 2 meters, or 7 feet in length. But what really catches the eye is their incredible coloration. The surface color of the snake can range anywhere from pale brown to black, that features a cream yellow underside, often adorned with orange or gray splotches. It's like a fashion show that's contained on a snake. Now, you may be wondering where to find these stylish snakes. The eastern brown snake is found in most habitats except dense forests, but can often be found on the outskirts of urban areas and in farmland. Why, you may ask? Well, that's because they love to eat their main prey, the house mouse. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good mouse for dinner? Delicious. Don't let their love for mice fool you, though. These snakes are highly venomous, and in fact, the eastern brown is considered to be the second most venomous in the world, coming in just behind the inland taipan of east-central Australia. In fact, they're responsible for more deaths from snake bites in Australia than any other species of snake, and are the foremost commonly experienced snake in Adelaide, Melbourne, Canberra, Sydney, and Brisbane. Despite their dangerous reputation, though, the eastern brown are quite fascinating. They're generally solitary creatures, with females and younger males avoiding the adults. They are active during the day and hunt mainly by sight. They love to forage for prey and raise their heads like periscopes in order to survey the landscape for their next meal. Plus, their defensive displays are a sight to behold. When confronted, the eastern brown snake will react with one of two neck displays. During a partial display, they raise the front part of their body horizontally just off the ground, flattening their neck and sometimes opening their mouth. In a full display, they'll rise vertically high off the ground, coiling their neck into an S shape and opening their mouth. They say, "Back off, because I'm stylish, but yet I'm dangerous." Number 15. The green anaconda. With olive green scales and a yellow and black belly, this serpent is a true chameleon of the animal kingdom. Its color and pattern provide the perfect camouflage in its habitat's wet, dense vegetation, but beware of its ability to blend in. This apex predator is a force to be reckoned with. Green boa constrictors are well adjusted to oceanic life, with their noses and eyes placed on their heads to assist them in seeing and breathing, whereas swimming in the water. And when the water is rare, they have the extraordinary capacity to burrow into the mud. The estimate of the green boa constrictor is really awe-inspiring. Females can reach lengths of up to 30 feet, breadths of 12 inches, and can weigh a mind-blowing 550 pounds. This South American snake is most commonly found in the Orinoco Bowl in Colombia, the Amazon Stream Bowl in Brazil, and the overwhelmed Llanos prairies in Venezuela. They incline towards shallow and slow-moving waters like streams, rivers, and overwhelmed prairies, spending most of their time within the water, but can also be found on arrival in thick vegetation, frequently in trees. Green anacondas are non-venomous constrictors. They use their strong jaws and muscular bodies to suffocate their prey, all before swallowing it whole. And their prey can be quite large, which includes deer, capybaras, caimans, and even large birds. These creatures have slow metabolisms and only need to eat once every few weeks, except for the breeding females. During the mating season, males will form groups and surround the female, competing for access. The mating can last up to a month, when the female will then mate several times, and afterwards the female may consume one or smaller males, as she will not eat again for 7 months. Females give live birth in the water, and a single litter can contain anywhere from 20 to 40 young. The largest litter on record was an incredible 82 young, and green anacondas have an average lifespan of about 10 years in the wild. However, in domestication, they can live much longer, with some reports of anacondas living well into their late 20s. That's all on today's list of the 15 largest snakes ever caught on camera. Which of these massive creatures have you encountered before? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.